And we should be on.
Welcome to the Clutch Kick once again after last week's break.
Yeah, that's my fault.
We didn't manage to get a guest, so like Gerg said, no guest, no show.
Yeah, that and I had a really bad ear infection, so I was just like, I'm not sitting at a fucking computer.
Okay, so I'm one of your hosts, EG, and on the left or right of me, I don't even know, doesn't really matter, is Gerg from Sydney.
Yeah, I'm one of your sides. Again, we had a flaky guest. Hopefully that flaky guest is on next week. And then we've actually been doing some scheduling, and we should have like almost a month, 4 weeks of solid guests, as long as they're not as flaky as McDreamy for next week. So
We can always get the number 1 or number 2 out of their team to come on if you can't make it.
yeah, I'm a bit worried about number 1 at the moment. I think he's feeling a bit under the weather with his recent car dramas. So I think if we had number 1 come on the show, he'd probably just sit and cry for an hour and a half or so, and it's a bit hard to give him a hug over the interwebs. So
Yeah. Okay. So start off as usual, the news, which is
no, there's been some stuff. So no, there's been some big announcements, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Curse Sunday, because we didn't do a show last
yeah.
week.
Shutdown initiated.
That's right. Yeah.
The Curse Sunday boys
Shutdown cancelled.
have announced that they have Daigo Saito coming out to bring the bash in May. He's, from the translation that I got on Facebook, he's excited about the shrimp.
Yeah, I've seen those comments a lot. There's no point explaining it. I think it's just funny if you just leave it at the Shrimp Fest.
Oh, so you're not going to give us what it actually means in Japanese and why it looks like it says Shrimp Fest?
I'm pretty sure a lot of people mentioned it, and I've replied and would have filtered out, but no one really cares. I think they're just more enjoying the Google translation. I don't know. It's not even Google translation, is it?
It's Facebook translation.
It's Facebook translation about the blurb that he wrote. So yeah, if I'll just say it quickly. So it's written in katakana, which is it should just be read, as in it should be just read as it's written. So it's it actually says Ebis, as in Ebisu in Japan. So he was saying that he thinks the event will be like Ebisu Matsuri, but because there's a translation thing, it's taken the first 3 letters, which is Ebi, and that's prawns, and then I think because it's American English, it's changed to shrimp, so it's become Shrimp Festival or something like that, or Festival of Shrimp.
Yeah.
So that's all.
So while he's down in the main central part of Port Macquarie, attempting to find some shrimp, there was another big guest announced for that event as well, and the real 137 Jiven is going to be attending the event as well. So that's pretty exciting to hear.
I heard he's going to do some driver education too, isn't he?
Well, yeah, I think
it's available because I think his time's pretty exclusive, isn't it?
Yeah, normally he tries to do a 1-lap education seminar from my understanding, and basically you get the aura from it, and then you're basically an amazing driver at that stage. Or if you don't catch the aura, you're basically destined to be a shitty driver for the rest of your life. So that's sort of how that works. I think Daigo was hoping to get at least 1 lap in with him, or at least half a lap. So hopefully that will be able to sort of really improve on Daigo's driving, because since he hasn't been in FD, I feel like the driving's slid a little bit.
Was it on here that you ripped into Daigo a little bit, or was that in our private conversation?
I can't remember. About
It was in our private conversation.
what did I say?
And you just kept ragging on Daigo how he's not a good driver. He just keeps crashing into shit. And then
Nah.
thinking back, he does crash into a lot of shit. He
Yeah,
crashed into so much stuff last year.
Yeah, he did have a lot of accidents last year, so lucky that there's not a huge amount to hit other than other cars at port. From my understanding, they're trying to sort out a 100 for him, but he had some requests on cars, like needed a second set of rear calipers and stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. If not, my understanding is one of the cursed boys who has two cars will have him drive one of his cars, and then that guy will drive his other car. So um, they've got that sort of sorted, and then there's two other Japanese guys coming out, but I'm not sure who they are exactly. I'm not a Japanese fanboy, so you might have more idea than I do. Have you entered, mate?
No, I haven't.
Are you going to enter? Or
Yes.
Are you busy that weekend? Have you got some spotting to do down at Wakefield?
I don't even know what event you're talking about.
Well, that's all right then. So get your entry in, mate, because I've done mine. So
Okay.
so you're the one with cars at work, but haven't done your entry, and I've
How's it work? No.
Oh no. Okay. All right.
No,
Well,
I had I remember how I was working on the 180 because I want to get that running.
Auto shutdown initiated.
So I was doing work on the long weekend with that, but
Auto shutdown cancelled.
it was actually running on 4 cylinders, but as of now, all the engine oil has escaped the engine. So hopefully, it wasn't running at the time, but
you can go to Woolies and buy like engine oil and stuff. So you should be right. If you can't find it, you can just go buy some new stuff.
no, it's not that. It's when I pour it in, it just comes out the bottom.
Generally, if you put the sump plug
damaged.
in,
Nah, the sump's damaged.
Oh, but it's just the sump that's damaged.
I hope so. So I actually don't remember what we did because we put the engine in a year ago, and there was a lot of things that we had to put back on the engine, and I can't remember if the sump was something that we put on or the last person that owned it put on, and I just assumed it was on correctly.
It's not always safe to assume, mate.
No, it's not, but I was lazy and
Hashtag
just wanted to
Team
get done.
Stage.
We're not lazy. Just not motivated.
So, but your plan is to get an entry in for that event? Seeing as
Yep.
Where were you last year? You had something on last year. Oh, DCA Tassie. DCA Tassie was where you were last year.
Oh, my car made it.
Yes, your car did make it. So, yeah.
Yeah, my car did it.
Yeah, it should be a good event. They've last year they ended up running over 2 days, but it was only planned as a 1 day event. This year it's definitely locked in as a 2 day event, so they're gonna have slightly higher entry numbers than last year. It's still, my understanding is it's still a bit of an invite system, but sort of more guys who have done the events previously have been given priority on entries, and then there's going to be entries left over for guys who haven't done an event previously. I have a feeling one of the Curse Boys is watching. I don't know if he's former president or still current president of SA Drifting, who's moved up to Newcastle. He's keen to come and drive, so you'll probably see an entry from him. So I think I told Solly to put himself down as Team Red Stage. He lived in Canberra.
I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that.
He lived in Canberra at some stage, didn't he?
No, he didn't actually.
He hasn't done the Canberra thing?
No, he lived in Queanbeyan, which is...
Oh, New South Wales, but basically Canberra.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. It's like on the other side of the border. It's like how we don't want to take people from Penrith and call them their.
We don't want to associate with those guys.
Yeah, fair enough. Your crime rate's high enough without taking people from New South Wales in. Um, so
So yeah,
so yeah, with the bash, um, if you're keen on driving, uh, yeah, try and get your entries in for that, and then they'll sort of go through and sift people out. They sort of keep it to guys who know how to string a lap together and stuff like that. So hopefully it's a good event with Daigo coming out, and I'm sure he will probably destroy the car that, well, probably not destroy it, but make a little bit of a mess of the car that he's driving and a few other people's cars, I'm sure. So we'll see. And if I saw correctly, I think maybe Luke Fink and some other guys are potentially coming down as
yeah,
well. So,
it's like
um,
it.
yeah, it could be overall really good. And if you don't get an entry, it's probably worth coming up and having a watch anyway, because it could potentially get a little bit
Can you
rowdy.
can you go passenger rides? Like, is that
Yeah,
free? Was there
if
rules for
as
that?
far as I'm aware at that track, if you want to build, one of those US style death carts, like where you just cut the whole car away and basically just have
Yeah, yeah,
that's okay there.
yeah. Right.
As far as I'm aware, the guy who owns the lease to the place or owns the place is currently doing that to a BMW the last time I was up there and spoke to him. So, yeah, sort of anything flies there. So, yeah, definitely get up there and have a look. Um, then something else was announced, I feel like. No, I can't remember. I'm pulling a blank. Over the weekend was Drifting SA's first big sort of multi-day event
Auto shutdown initiated.
um,
Auto
out at
shutdown cancelled.
the Bend Motorsport Park. Looked like they were fairly down on numbers. I think they were expecting high numbers, but looked like they basically drove every which way that they possibly could on that track. A lot of good footage coming out from guys like Paul Austin and Stewie and Simon Mickelmore and a few other guys. So hopefully there are more of those to come. Hopefully with uh, better attendance, but I think just sort of wrong time of the year and all that sort of stuff. Uh,
They did open entries a little bit sort of late, even though I
we
think
were
people were aware
announced,
about it.
yeah, we're
Yeah,
announcing it
they
from
were.
December, but
Yes, and I guess those negative people would have thought, oh, it's not on, and they start making other plans because they couldn't enter. So,
yeah,
but I'm pretty sure it was everyone was talking about it. Things were, even though entries weren't open, the announcements were made. So that's
yeah, it's.
probably
But I think the funniest part with some of the your Matsuri style events in Australia is it's more about building a culture around those events. Like your QR Matsuris are massive and they're always massive, but it's always exactly the same track, same format, same crappy weather, same no tandems with passengers, same all that stuff. But because it's basically an institution, everybody attends it. Um,
yeah.
and same with sort of your Matsuris, your Drift X's and all that. They've just got the big numbers currently in all their practice days and all that sort of stuff. So uh, same sort of deal there, and I think it's going to take a little bit to build those numbers up for some of your bigger events down in South Australia. So hopefully it doesn't mean that they just stop doing them, but hopefully they've also been pretty flooded too lately. I feel like every second weekend I've been seeing some form of drifting coming out of SA since the Bend Open. They've had a few practice days there. The comp, a Malala practice or two. So yeah, it's been super busy down there already, and it's sort of supposed to be the dead time of year. So uh, hopefully there's another one, and hopefully I've got my act together at that stage because that yeah looked like fun, and the fact that they just did so much down there. Um, Speaking of Vic Drift Summer Matsuri that's on this weekend, as far as I'm aware, at Winton, there's also an FD driver driving at that event. I saw some stuff on uh, Instagram that sort of led me to find out that he was here probably a month-ish ago, and
Who?
it's Matt Van Kirk. I think he's only made top 16 once. He drives a one via with a Rocket Bunny kit. It's orange. He is sponsored by a simulator company, as far as I'm aware, in FD, and he basically started drifting on Assetto Corsa and that sort of stuff, and then still is a big advocate for using that stuff to learn to drive, and he has that stuff set up in his pits in the US and stuff like that. Uh, he's actually been somebody that I've been trying to keep an eye on Instagram to suss out what the go is to see if he's around long enough to try and get him on here potentially if he's doing a bunch of driving down here. So uh, yeah, I'm aware that he has been around. I know somebody mentioned it in the comments. So yeah, Vic Matsuri this weekend. I think previous guest Andrew in his AE86 is driving that event, and then
Yeah.
he's put that car up for expressions of interest. It looks like trying to get sensible with life. So if anybody's interested in a AE86 with a sick SR20 motor, have a look at the Moonlight Garage car down at Vic Drift Matsuri, and yeah, I'm not sure what he's asking for it, but here's a free plug for you, mate.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I support him selling that car. He
Yeah.
should go and make his wife work a bit more so then he can play a bit more. So no, I think he's getting more sensible, and he is sort of giving up one car to purchase another car. So sell the car here in Australia and then purchase the car in Japan.
Auto shutdown initiated.
But I'm not too sure if that's going to be track only or a road car in Japan.
Yeah. Jake has said 18k, so yeah, good luck. He'll be keeping that car.
It's A6. A6 is like. Did you see that? Did you see that A6 in Queensland? I think it was. It looked really neat, but it was like $20-something thousand. I think we spoke about it.
People are fried. If people are paying that much money for a car, like, Jesus, buy something new.
New A6 cheaper.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, I'm just not sure. You've driven one before, right? You drifted one?
No.
Ever? You never?
No.
Okay.
No, I got offered and I turned it down because it had less than 1,000 Ks on it.
I've driven one once. I don't know. Good car, but yeah, just not something I'd be like spend that sort of money as something I'd have in the garage. I don't think we have enough sort of relaxed practice days where you can just sort of pull it out of the garage and go drive in the middle of the week to justify not having a car that you're not that you can go out and bang up a little bit, because they're just getting harder and harder to keep in one piece. Yeah, I think it won't be long before we need sort of, they have Wakefield and Winton have like your historic race days with like all your old like Model T Fords and like those sort of more old school open skinny wheels and all that sort of stuff. I think it won't be long before there's prestigious drift car clubs that no tandems and all that, because we're trying to keep our cars in one piece. And
yeah, that's part of Steve's thing, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, because Steve was beating his car up too much. That's why he went from. He says he wasn't going to drift that 86 anymore, and he was going to do grip only in that car. And then the first event, he put it into a wall.
Yeah, well, I'm only going to do grip racing because it's safer than drifting. So what I'm going to do as my first event is I'm going to go and run the concrete gauntlet of Bathurst backwards as a hill climb event. That's just seems like a really safe place to keep your car straight and clean.
I think if you're pushing any car, it's going to get
of course,
the potential
but like, I'm not sure
to
what
beat it up is going to be high.
But what other track public to like open to the public in Australia other than like, there's the street courses that the V8 supercar puts on, but yeah, yeah,
There's always
Bathurst.
going to be a risk with anything.
Yeah, there's gonna be the risk, but like Bathurst is like you can't just spin out and like drop a wheel off the track type thing. So yeah, Steve that did that to himself. Um,
So the other news that was this week was the post about Marulin.
oh yeah, that was the other one.
Yeah. So still trying to find out some more information about that, but there was a post from a local Canberra guy that made it sound like he had the opportunity to go drifting at Marulin. So he's asking for expressions of interest from people to contact him, submit a photo of your car, and then I think he also mentioned in the comment that he is going to do a test day next week, and yeah, interested to see what happens. As far as I knew, days in Marulan was not open to allowing drifting on that circuit.
Yeah, look, so I don't know if we spoke about it early last year or at all last year, after the Renos and stuff went down. There were some posts that went around Facebook, and uh, the guys from Revolution had been in contact and put together, I think, two or three proposals, as far as I'm aware, multiple times trying to get in contact with them after they knew it. I think before it had changed hands or during the change of hands, just after the change of hands in ownership, and then a little bit after that. And basically every time they got given just a straight, like, I think one email was literally just like, no.
Yeah,
Like that,
pretty much.
that's the reply. Like I saw a screenshot of
I think
that email, and it
because
was
no drifting allowed or
yeah,
something.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
as far as it went. Like nothing more than that. So if
Auto shutdown
if this
initiated.
guy's managed to
Auto
score
shutdown cancelled.
a foot in the door, hopefully it's a good sign.
Yeah.
I find it interesting because he spoke about in the post about noise testing, and as far as I was aware, the owners had gone and bought a few of the problem houses close by, but it'll be interesting to see if they're strict on noise regs like Wakefield is. Well, Wakefield if you run the first two corners, um, but yeah, it'll just be interesting to see what comes out of it, and just hopefully,
Mm.
yeah. Look, from the new layout, it doesn't look like there's really anywhere you can dirt drop really. So the only question is going to be attitude and noise. Really, there really isn't. Like when you look at the new surface and everything, it's been basically tarred right out to the walls, and there's
Yeah.
a couple of
I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I know if you get the right driver, I'm sure they'll be able to find a bit of dirt somewhere.
Yeah, no, I know there's those sections, but if you're not fine, a bit like going to Irwindale and finding dirt, like they're kind of there's a couple of patches of dirt, but if you're there, you're
Yeah.
really in the wrong spot.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's right.
And if you try and find dirt in traditional places, you're in the wall. So yeah. So we'll see what comes of that. If people have put expressions of interest, uh, and then you get to drive, let us know how it is. I doubt EG's put his interest in because he'd be flintstoning his car around the track at this stage, and so would I.
I guess someone else to push though. I think. Yeah. How about you push my car?
No,
Yeah,
no.
you're fitter than I am.
Not really. You,
Yeah,
hey,
really.
hey, last year at Mount Gambier, you kept up with me pretty good.
That's like a small burst of energy.
Yeah, me too. I was gassed after that. I was done, mate. So, so that's that. I can't remember the name of what the Western Australian guys are doing. There's a group of guys over in WA who are started. I'm not sure if they've released their first episode yet. Doing a podcasty show thing similar to this. At this stage, I'm pretty sure they're mostly focused on WA stuff, uh,
Yeah.
and just sort
So they
of
actually have a studio, and it looks like they come in. They get their guests to come into the studio,
yeah. So
like
that
a radio show, I think.
yeah, that sort of works for a little bit, but I think somewhere like Perth it works perfect because it's a that
Department of Drift.
Department of Drift. That's the one. I was like looking up Drift HQ and all this stuff today. Drift HQ is the guys who are in that T-Pain video recently.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I
Yeah,
didn't you?
you've got too much time to sit on YouTube and watch
Yeah,
videos.
I do.
Because like
I
I
was
often
also
ask you for reviews before I even watch them. I say, "Hey, is this video worth watching?" You're like, "No, I've seen that. It's not worth watching."
yeah, that's all right. Hey, when I'm sharpening skates and stuff, I generally watch YouTube as well. So I think Ken Long was their first guest, but I don't know if the episode's been released.
Nah,
But
third guest, I
or
think.
third
Oh no,
guest.
third episode. It says third episode. I don't know. It could be the first guest.
But yeah, if you're somebody like a Jackson Snell or somebody who listens to this stuff post broadcast, if you're looking for more drift trash talk to listen to, I haven't listened to any of it yet, but it's good to see those guys. They're really pushing over in WA, and uh, one of the other guys, uh, DJ, who does some vlog stuff on YouTube, showed them doing some practice stuff, doing a new layout on. There's like a hill climb sort of circuit off the edge of Barbagallo, and they're looking at using that for one of their comp layouts this year, and they had their drift school and all that. So I think it's those guys doing this stuff. So they really are trying to build a good community over there. So big things in
Yeah,
WA.
cool.
It's just a shame that it's a 4 day drive away.
Is that 4 days? No, it's
It's like 4 days.
yeah, 4 days.
I think it's
Yeah.
Auto
like
shutdown initiated.
so.
Auto shutdown
As much as I'd
cancelled.
love to get across there, I think it'd be cheaper and easier to buy a car, fly in, sell the car, and leave. So
Hey, I've seen some cheap cars over there actually, so it might be worth storing a car
potentially. Oh,
if
storing if you
storage is free.
yeah, and flights are cheap.
Yeah, I know. Actually, some of the flights are. I think the flights are more expensive to Perth than they are to New Zealand sometimes. So you can leave the country cheaper than traveling
Yeah, but
within
that's
your
because it's
country.
probably subsidised by the New Zealand government to try and get people to go over there and
There you
spend
go.
their high quality Australian dollars. Did you die? You're killing the show here, mate. We can just talk absolute trash about EG, and he's got no idea. My headset just keeps telling me it's going into auto shutdown, so I've got to keep tapping my ear, looking like a spaz, and EG still can't hear anything.
Nope,
So
I have nothing.
I'm just gonna carry this episode on totally alone with the 3 people who are bothering to sit here and watch. So yeah, any questions in the comments? Cause EG's left me high and dry.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I hope you don't get an echo.
Nah, no, okay.
Okay, because I can barely hear you now.
Well, turn your sound up.
I can, but I think you'll get an echo. Hang on.
Alright, so
Oh, yep, definitely get an echo.
well, I can't hear it, but that's okay. For people who are looking for an update on my car, I finally got hit up by the tow yard that has been keeping all those parts that I posted on Facebook far out. I think that's almost 4 months ago now. Saying that the stuff's been ready to be released. So the stuff up in Queensland looks, well, what has been recovered and whatever's actually left there is now ready to be collected, which all feels a little bit strange at this stage. So I'm getting one of the guys up in Queensland to collect that for me, and I think at this stage, mm, all of it's going to be on the market. I have had these moments where I'm like, oh, if I can find a shell up in Queensland, I'll just put it back together and have that. But I think at this stage, my best bet is to say sayonara to the buddy to that
You should
setup.
bring it back here. I'll bring it back to Sydney and then put it in a shell.
But it would be cheaper to sell it up there. Because then I don't have to get it shipped down here.
How much stuff do you have?
Basically a whole car. Or a whole car. Other
Really?
than the body of a car. I think so. Well,
Okay.
provided it's still all there. The last pictures I saw that were recovered from the police, basically everything was there, including the driver's seat. But yeah, I don't know what sort of condition it's in. It's been sitting in Queensland for 4 months, and who knows what sort of where it's been left with this towing company. I'm just praying that it's been left undercover. So hopefully in the next couple of days I'll know a little bit more and it'll be in my possession. Somebody's currently messaging me asking me to give them the whole rear subframe, but in one piece. But if you want the whole rear subframe in one piece, you're looking at a fairly healthy sum of money.
Yeah, because it's going to be, if you're going to have to reacquire those parts again, then
I'm not sure I have any intention of ever building. Like, part of me really wants like an S chassis, but another part of me, yeah, just wants to do something different down the line. Once, yeah, I've had some seat time. Once I get the 350 back up and running, which is its whole other story. Yeah, I'm just, yeah, I don't know. Part of me is like, oh, 250 kilowatt, 300 kilowatt SR20 in a S
Auto
chassis.
shutdown initiated.
You know,
Auto shutdown
would be fun
cancelled.
again. Like I know I know the car well, all that sort of stuff. But then I'm like, I'd rather 350 if I can get it up and running to be a bit of a banger. And then if I want to do anything bigger than that, do something a little bit either different or just bigger in like not bigger in size, but like a 2J car or something more with a little bit more guts than a 300 kilowatt SR20, so more up into a 400 kilowatt something, but
400. Wow.
but not in an SR again, because I've been there, done that, and it's it's just expensive. It's really not worth it. So
Well, what happens when you want to become competitive again?
well, this is why I have this idea of another car that I want to do either.
You're gonna lose a lot of money selling that gear.
Oh, but the only thing that the reality is the only thing that I would really want to keep from that car if I was to do another car would be the rear subframe, or at least the rear the diff and shafts and the maybe the coilovers, but that's not too bad. That can easily be replaced. So everything else is SR specific really. So yeah, I don't know. And if anybody wants a Haltech, there's going to be a Haltech for sale because good ECU, those ones.
Good quality.
Yeah, let's speak to Warwick Hill and Jake Jones about their Haltechs, and even me. I might actually get that one put under the microscope before I let it go.
Oh yeah.
So we can see, because then if it looks like the ECU's a bit how you going, like
Yeah, because you fried a engine before that, didn't you? Before the engine.
multiple.
Yeah.
And then that was the car still burning spark plugs was the reason that the car actually stayed in Queensland in the first place. So if the car wasn't frying spark plugs, and if that looks like it was an ECU issue, my car would have never got stolen. So therefore, thanks
Pretty
Haltech.
much.
That's why my car got stolen. Plus Queensland's full of a bunch of scumbags too. So Some really nice
Just
guys up there, but
blanket generalize all those
there's
guys.
some scumbags up there too. So
Yeah.
anybody who's saying put the SR into the 350,
You should do that.
the 350 electronic system is a fucking headache.
Yeah, so you rip it all out and you just do like a custom,
So I should just put that.
like your
Yeah, but then
old S14.
doors are more expensive. Uh, control arms are more expensive. Just parts in general are more expensive for the
Is
for the
that
SR.
why you got the Z?
Yeah, but then you've also added a more expensive motor into the mix as well. Well, kind of, considering the mess that I've been stuck with as well. Um, yeah, I don't know. I did think about doing an LS in it, and then I watched a video today, and
Tell
even
us in what?
in the 350. So basically,
Really?
okay, so off from the S14, the
Pro
three
life.
the 350 had a rev up motor. These stupid rev up motors only came in a year and a half or like 1.5 years worth of models of 350Zs. They came in manuals in '05 and they came in autos and manuals in 2006. They didn't come in any other VQ motored vehicle. I didn't realize until I had let buddy Jake and EG destroy my car and then me destroy it on the way home that I had this fancy limited like run motor in my car and I let it chuck a leg. That's my bad. I shouldn't have tried to limp it home in the condition it was, but I did and it chucked a leg. And I thought, okay, I can only get a regular VQ, which basically is a non-VVT VQ35. So I bought one of them, put it in, car runs,
Auto shutdown initiated.
car doesn't rev.
Auto shutdown cancelled.
Bought an aftermarket ECU, tried to have a look at that.
Haltech?
No, it's definitely not Haltech. Had a look at why it's not working, and for some reason the electronic throttle isn't getting the voltage it needs, and we've spent, countless hours trying to work out why it's not doing it, but we've had to keep using the VVT loom on that motor. So the 350s use like a CAN network for some of their wiring, and this is also what put me off the LS. The advantage to the LS is it's a fly by cable, so it's not so bad.
Yep.
But some of the gauges and stuff don't work because they use CAN. They use a CAN network to communicate, and I have a feeling that my car is not fully communicating properly because there's 4 or 5 sensors that the regular VQ doesn't have that a rev up motor has. But I've managed to find a rev up motor on the other side of the country and I'm trying to get that shipped across here. I'm going to put that in and hope that it solves all my issues.
And sell the car and buy a Falcon.
Honestly, it's been a thought. So
some cheap V8 turbos
they're
recently.
just so big. But I got a bigger tow car now, so I can tow something that big.
That's what I wanted to get to actually.
So yeah, I feel like Greg's just been spending money in depression. So because I got the 350, the Commodore wasn't going to handle towing that all that well anymore. So I've got myself a 2011 Nissan Pathfinder, which I've thought was pretty funny because I know Jackson Snell was looking for a Navara or a Pathfinder in the same series. I think he bought something and then it looks like he's selling it. But yeah,
Why?
I don't know. I just see stuff on Facebook.
Okay.
And yeah, so I've got a slightly bigger tow car now, so I can get bigger cars than what I had previously.
Why a Pathfinder though?
Why a Pathfinder, you ask?
Why not like a Commodore Ute? Because you're a Holden guy.
I am a bit of a GM boy. Um, so look, my 3 liters of Thunder did serve me very well, and I still have it. I just need to clean it up and sell it. Um, it got me to Mount Gambier twice, Queensland a bunch of times. I didn't drive it to Tassie. I didn't. Did I drive it to Melbourne? Yeah, I drove it to Melbourne. Uh, did really well, but I'm pretty sure it was illegal pretty much every single time. Um, that wouldn't be the first time.
Overweight, over capacity.
Yeah.
Even with that trailer? That trailer was light, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was more the amount of crap that I was carrying more than the car and trailer combo.
Uh,
So I liked the wagon, hence why I started looking at a Pathfinder. I had been looking at Land Rover Discoveries, things like that.
ooh, really?
But I mixed reviews on them, like the Indian built ones or the whatever, and then
Yeah.
just too much stuff. But I like the idea of a wagon because I'm just used to the wagon. It means everything's pretty secure inside it compared to a hard shell on a ute or something like that. Plus, when it's not being used for, like, yes, you can put a hard shell on a ute, but the back seats in those utes suck. Where in a wagon, the back seats sit and lay back a little bit more than in some of those dual cab utes that are really really upright. So
Yeah.
just it's a more practical car, and also means that if I don't have passengers in the back and I lay down the back seats, I've actually got more length than you get in a dual cab ute as well.
Yeah.
Which for me on a standard drift trip normally, unless I'm going Mount Gambier, I think has been the only time that I've had 3 people in the car, and considering that track doesn't use that many tires, that was okay. But yeah, Pathfinder mostly because it's good towing capacity up at 3 ton.
3 times? 3.5 or 3?
Nah, just 3 on these, I'm pretty sure. But I think
Okay.
because it's got airbags already in the back to level out and do a few things, I think you can get it past to up your tow rating a little bit on them.
Auto shutdown initiated.
So yeah, it's got some
Auto
good bits on
shutdown
it,
cancelled.
and yeah, I think when people see what their mates have got or what other people have got and think, oh, that's a good idea, and then people end up with like a Triton, and they're not that great. Even though I'm pretty sure yours is basically just a Triton, but
Yeah, mine's a Triton.
but a new Triton as opposed to.
I don't think it's that different to an older Triton.
I think they changed a little bit from what. I think they.
It's still a sort of lattice chassis design, new panels.
No, yeah, that. But I think the motor changed, right? Yours still only a 2 liter or whatever it is? 2.1.
Yeah, no, mine's 2.4, but that's different to I think the new Tritons, like this year's Triton, is the same.
Okay. Yeah.
But otherwise,
The earlier ones are smaller, I'm pretty sure.
no, I think the 2.8. They had V6s before that as well, but they're
I think yours
yeah.
is better.
Huh?
I think from my research, yours is better. If you're gonna buy a new car and you don't want something that's like stupidly crazy,
I think it's cost versus reward.
because yours is a Prado Sport, right?
Pajero Sport.
Pajero Sport, sorry.
Yeah. Prado's Toyota.
It is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sort of I just like the wagons, and I think you're sort of a bit of a wagon person.
Yeah,
as well.
I had a Ute before. I had an AU Ute. And that was cool. Thing drifted so well. The diff was so nice, even though it was an open wheel. It was such a cool car. I'd get one again. I would. It was cheap. But, actually, no, that AU wasn't cheap. Another AU I got was cheap. But anyway, wagons, yeah, I feel there's a lot more advantages to a wagon for me. Because I usually carry more than one passenger. So it's fairly common. So just having even like a dual cab ute, I think it would be kind of restrictive because some of the rear seats are pretty narrow as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the ability that you get sort of that entire length enclosed with that car. But like you can have the back section enclosed on a ute, but it's you don't get the length out of it.
Yeah, just day to day, it feels more practical. So
Yeah. Um. So yeah, definitely like the wagon, 7-seater as well. Because I
yeah,
think yours is as well. Yeah.
yeah, mine's 7-seater as well. Not that
So
I've flipped up the back seats to see what it even looks like. But
man,
also,
I've used it a lot.
but what I also thought with it is that if I ever need more space, considering they put like the back is flat, I could always pull those back seats out, and then I've got like another cubby to carry more crap into.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know, just just thought processes.
Yeah.
Um, and it's
Have you
funny.
actually towed it yet?
No, it doesn't have a tow bar, so that's on order. It should be here Friday or early next week. So that was one of the
Like,
first things I ordered, and then I've got to pull the brake controller out of the Commodore before I get rid of it.
and then yeah, so you can also join all the other guys with 4-wheel drive tow vehicles.
Yeah, and just go beat them up and break them off road. Nah, look, honestly, I then it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a bit worse being so high up. It's already got a 2-inch lift and all this sort of stuff on it, and yeah, surprisingly handles really well. I thought it was gonna be more, yeah, I don't know, more truck-like, but
Yeah.
it's pretty punchy. So, oh, mine's like it's the later Pathfinder, so it's got a
Yeah.
it's got like one of those fancy Borg Warner like variable turbo things. So like down low, it's got like one speed, and then it goes like once it ramps up, it changes its something or other and does more boosty things. So
Yeah, because you were pretty specific with the year of
well,
Pathfinder.
yeah. So what I was told, and this is why I ask people questions. Um, Supposedly in 2010-ish, there was a change in the motor design. So there was timing chain issues on the early motors. So they would normally flog out and stretch by 200,000 Ks, and supposedly that had been rectified for um, the 2010 up motor,
Yep.
and they also went to the
Auto shutdown initiated.
Borg Warner turbo with, as
Auto
Jake's telling me,
shutdown
the
cancelled.
variable vane technology. So, and now I want to get a Plasma Man hard pipe instead of the silicon that's got the wire wrapped around it to stop it from expanding too much, and it's got a snorkel, so like I get like turbo noise.
Yes.
I got turbo noises and stuff.
Yeah, and you can go 40 as well.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
You got no excuse now that you got a snorkel. That's why I did one. The guy was trying to sell me the car. I was like, "Hey, do you want a snorkel with that? We can add it for another couple $100." I go, "Nah," because if I get it and I get into that situation, the other guys are going to try and peer pressure me to use it.
Yeah, but see, my thing is the snorkel just puts that high enough. Water's still going to come in under the door sill, so at that stage I'm going to try and avoid that. I'd rather not destroy the carpets and all that sort of stuff.
Is it leather interior? It's a high
Leather.
spec one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the highest spec one. Like the high spec
Okay.
one came with the fancy V6 and all this sort of stuff, but it's sort of the one before that. It doesn't have reverse cameras and all that. But yeah, it's like the last of the real cab chassis
The ladder chassis.
Pathfinders. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pathfinders. So many cars are now moving away from it. I'm not sure what the options in the future really are going to be. There's going to be a handful of dual cab utes, it seems, and hopefully your discoveries and all that stay on it. But if not, it's the affordable range stuff. Like when I was looking up reviews on what's new, like what you could buy from a dealership new in that sort of that medium size, like not your Land Cruisers and your Nissan Patrols and your really big 4-wheel drives for your heavy towing. Um, yeah, your Pajero Sport was one of the, you know, as a new car that you could buy from a dealership was up there, and there's not much else in that sort of medium
You mean
sized.
kind of proper 4-drive? You mean? Because a lot of the cars these days they're all like
A
soft-road
unibody.
SUV.
Yeah, unibody
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
And even though they kind of have 4-wheel drive, they're not really that.
But it's not even that. Just their tow rating isn't that good. Like they're a big heavy car,
No.
but then their actual
Yeah.
rating for towing is not is just not there because the toe ball and stuff won't like the
The
rear,
chassis.
yeah, the rear chassis won't actually support that sort of weight. So that's sort of what seems like it's a bit of a dying breed. Or if you're gonna buy something that's new that can do that, you're looking at really expensive new cars like your Land Cruisers and stuff like that. So
For like a 4-drive wagon type thing, yeah.
yeah, but I mean something that will go up to like your 3.5 tons if you're gonna tow a enclosed car trailer or have like
Well,
a V Ute drift car or something like that.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think I was surprised how low the Kluger was because I thought, hey, that's pretty big, and I thought it's because it's Toyota, it's going to be good tow rating, but they don't have any, and they're not a ladder chassis, so they drive like a normal car, which is kind of cool, but no tow rating. So yeah, it's way too low. But I don't think I don't think they're disappearing. I think that the market likes the fake ones, like not the fake ones, but like the soft ones. They like the height, the jacked up height, but not
That's
the
what I'm saying. The car itself
the
is
capacity.
yeah, the model
Yeah,
of the car isn't disappearing. The capability is disappearing.
yeah,
Um, yeah. Look, I even for saying like the Pathfinder, I probably wouldn't have necessarily looked at. I'm not an avid four-wheel driver or anything like that, so I wouldn't have looked at something like that unless I wanted the tow capacity out of it. With the
yeah.
350 being a couple of 100 kilos more, and the trailer I'm looking at being a little bit heavier than what I've had previously, so um, all that adds up. And with the hell of a year I had with not having insurance on things and not being covered for other things last year, the last thing I want to be doing is towing around something that's illegal. Well, not illegal. Well, it is illegal. But basically, yeah, you're not insured anymore, so not really a good
So what's
time.
the capacity you've got now? It's 3 ton,
Yeah, 3.
and then the trailer
I think
you're gonna get the same trailer.
same trailer, full floor, more than likely. So I think it's like an extra 120 kilos or something.
Yep.
Plus the 350. I think I'm only looking at maybe just over 2 ton. I think 2.2 or something. So it wouldn't have been too much over the
Auto
Commodore.
shutdown initiated.
The issue would have been once you start
Auto
adding
shutdown
other stuff
cancelled.
on top of it. So
Yeah, wheels and tools and jacks and
yeah,
spares and stuff.
yeah. So
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you put it; it's gonna increase the
yeah,
capacity, the load on the car.
yeah. So yeah. So I've got that, and it's funny to have two cars with basically exactly the same steering wheel now. The 350
Oh,
and the
really?
Pathfinder are basically the same generation of car and same steering wheel, or almost the same steering wheel. The Pathfinder one is more round, and then the 350's got like just down the bottom at sort of 7, like 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock's got like these, it like humps in a little bit, which is, I don't know, a bit weird. You would have expected that on the Pathfinder as well, but the Pathfinder's perfectly round, and the 350's got the little bump on it. So I don't know, but yeah, it's funny having them the same. I think in our group chat, Dylan Roberts said, "Oh, that's one of the worst steering wheels." And then I'm like, "Yeah, now I've got two of them."
So when are you gonna make the new vlog with the feature of the tow car feature?
When am I gonna do that? Uh, when I actually get the 350 running again, and I don't feel depressed as hell about it. Like honestly, the 350 has been hell the last couple of months trying to get it. Just electrical things are a headache. If somebody was at like a really good motorsport specialty wiring, just that's all they did.
Yeah.
Within
Did you, did you
Sydney,
did you speak to Pete Ruffalo?
yeah, dude's got an 8-week wait list because he's
Oh,
busy
okay.
smashing out 22 cars a day doing AC.
Yeah, okay.
So
All right.
yeah, I called him, spoke to
All right.
him. Yeah, trust
He's
me.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. I went there.
Yeah.
Like, I called him, but
Yeah.
nah, no good.
To tell him who you were,
Yeah, no, he knows who I am.
okay,
No, he knows who I
the
am.
Olympic figure skater or whatever.
Yeah, and he's always felt sorry for me since I think He was at the drift school day when I first bought the second 14, and it chucked a leg. I think a lot of the
Oh, okay.
I think a lot of the hit and run guys were there on that day, and yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's felt sorry for me ever since.
Okay.
So, nah, super nice guy, but busy making dollar bills, yo, easy uh, on easy jobs. So
Yeah, he is making the SR86.
he's building an SR86. So pretty fancy looking build.
Yeah, pretty cool. Once it's finished.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully I'll purchase this other motor. Hopefully, because it's the same as what was in there previously. I'll get it across. I'll get it in the car, and then
Go drifting.
hopefully be able to go drifting.
Come down to some street light inspections.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I need some seat time in
What?
that car again.
How much rotary does that have left?
I think maybe another 6 months. I'm not sure if I'm going to
Okay.
re-register.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. That's why there was
Um,
that pressure of getting it running and getting some more run around time in it.
yeah, it's not really a big deal, but it'll drop my insurance premiums. It will drop my won't have to pay for rego, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, we'll see what I decide to do with it. Just trying to pick a direction with it currently. I had been thinking about doing the unthinkable and putting Wisefab in it once I had got a couple more drives in it. But I'm also now looking at maybe doing PBM to keep it a little bit more natural, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna want a little bit more lock out of it soon, and I need to.
What's the price difference?
I think the PBM is actually more expensive.
Really?
Yeah, because you got to buy it all separate. You got to buy
So it's not in the kit like the
Wisefab is.
Wisefabs.
But
Yeah.
then I also saw that there's some, uh, like the roll center adjusters on the GK Tech does and stuff like that you bolt onto the bottom of the knuckle. I think even Stewie does it with one of his Costal kits. I think they've PBM started doing one of them, but then I don't know whether or not I do. Whether with some of this stuff it's worth. Do you do the interim stuff? Do you do you spend the money on the little bits and pieces and then you slowly piece it up together, or do you do what same thing as I did with the Wisefab and you just go, screw it, I'm just gonna throw a whole kit at it. So.
Do you feel you're maxing out the stock stuff at the moment?
Mate, we drove most of the day on it making maybe 100 kilowatt, so
yeah. Still,
I'm not sure we'll max it. Like, no, we pushed it to the edge of what it could do, but whether or not that's enough, I'm not sure.
You reckon? Because back in the day, there didn't used to be that much knuckle modifications.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
No, and I think Jake can attest to it. And I was happy with how much lock I could actually get out of it.
Yeah.
Just I think just the alignment of it and stuff like that, and the amount of rollover it gets from one side. Oh, and they have really bad Ackerman too. Like the lead wheel, all I've got in it currently is the big GK Tech spacer, and then it's got the lock washer on the other side, and yeah, it gets heaps of the lead wheel gets heaps of turnout, and the trailing wheel drags a whole lot. So I don't know if that's anti-Ackerman or positive Ackerman or whatever. But I don't know. How do I get in the picture? It does like it's like that. Where Wisefab you can play with it a little bit more and get that trailing wheel to turn in a little bit more. So, but then I also would like it to actually fit on the trailer for once without having to change wheels.
And the YSO stuff will
maybe push it out too far.
Not fit.
So we'll see. I'm happy to change wheels if I have to get something that I'm happy with. So
It doesn't take that long, does it?
Nah, nah, and it's like not really a big deal. But yeah, I don't know. The kits for me just make more sense, and I wish. I think PBM does it for some of their stuff, but not some of their other stuff. So if I can get it back together in time, I will drive the next Revo day on the same as what it was the last time. So still just the lock washer and see how that goes. Hopefully with more of the day with more power instead of it choking up half the banks like it was during that day and slowly grenading itself. And then
Yeah.
and I think that'll give me a better idea on whether or not that's enough or not. I also don't like the fact that it just because of that setup it just absolutely flogs the inside edge of the tires on one side and the outside edge of the tire on the other side. So I was on cheap Chinese shit too, so it might be time to
That's
put.
pretty much all I run is cheap Chinese shit.
Yeah, I had no turn in though. Like it just didn't want to turn in. So
Did you end up putting the coilovers in beforehand?
yeah, coilovers, and the welded diff, and I think the welded diff. It's the
Yeah.
first time I've ever driven on a weld. I think that yeah, first time I've ever driven on a welded diff. I've had viscous diffs that have just got clutch packs smashed into them to the point that they're locked, but I'm pretty sure there's still a little bit of give in them. Um, but yeah, then I had a two-way LSD, and yeah, I'm just not. I think yeah, the car's really got to be unsettled before you throw the car in when it's. Unless you can do a fat handbrake drag, but I'm not really into that, and the handbrake wasn't that great for a Pro-Am style handbrake drag down the wall at Wakefield, so um,
Pro-Am? Are you sure Pro-Am?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't well, it had to be Pro-Am. I didn't have enough speed to be Pro.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, once I know it's running, then I think I'll get excited about the car again because I have all these plans. I want to do a half cage, do all this sort of stuff, get a seat organized. But if this car's not going to run and it like I keep having electrical issues, I'm just going to part it out. Just piss it off. Like just part it out. Just get rid of it.
Auto shutdown initiated.
And then put your SR
Auto shutdown cancelled.
in a Z.
Nah. Do an RB20 and just never put oil in it. Never change the oil.
RB30.
Nah,
RB30.
Nah, just the 20. Stewie loves those things, mate. They go forever. If a motor can happily survive Stewie, it should be able to survive me.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe.
Depends what computer you're on.
Yeah, just don't run a yellow one. But yeah, that's sort of my plan for the interim. But hopefully this other motor, that's the same one as what came out of the 350, solve my problems. Anybody who's looking at a 350,
don't. No, just be real careful about what you get.
Yeah,
there's a lot of variance from what you said, and then it's not that obvious as well.
Yeah, I just didn't even realize that there was only such a short run of that style of motor. Because then, so it's basically the VQs started as just a single intake, no variable cam timing or valve timing, and then just for a year and a half the 350s only came with it, didn't come in any of the Gs or any of the stages or anything like that. And then the 350s moved on to running a dual intake for a little while, but not very long. And then just after that, they went into the 370 was born. So went up to a 3.7 liter with the dual intake still. So to me, best bet would be as much as people probably want something newer that makes a little bit more power. If you're looking for something just as a startup and thrash, and to keep it cheap, the early ones pre 2005 is your best bet, because the VQ35's a dime a dozen. There's so many of them, and there's one coming out of my car that'll be for sale for fairly cheap. So, um,
Yeah, what else are cheap engines? Ford Barras.
hey, did you watch Platinum? Did you watch Motive? What are they
No,
called?
I didn't.
What are they
Well,
called
they
now?
did a comparison
Yeah.
between the Barra, the RV, and the 2J.
Yeah, and then so
They made one real recently. I haven't watched that one.
Yeah, they're just doing thickness tests and stuff like that, and basically the barrel.
Oh, between the cylinders.
Yeah, just all that, and just all
Yeah.
around, and the castings and all that. So, it seemed that the Barra sort of fell in line with the RBs, and with strength and all that, but they have the advantage of the extra displacement. So basically, the 2J's still a superior piece of engineering at this stage. So, but then again, if you want the numbers, you can get more numbers out of the Barra without straining it really, because it's got an extra liter of
And it's cheap too.
displacement. They're just a big motor though.
Yeah, they are.
Somebody asked what's the actual issue with the Haltex. There's a video that was going around. I don't know if it's still around. Somebody's pulled a Haltech down and put it under a microscope, and I'm no electrical engineer, but circuit boards normally have some sort of coating to protect themselves from oxidizing, and I guess they get growths on them and stuff from the oxidization, and yeah, somebody's has been opened recently, and stuff that could potentially have been causing intermittent functioning of different parts of the ECU look like it was starting to form. So
I don't. This is a Falcon ECU. I don't even know if you can see it on the webcam, but like maybe if it focuses in, you can see on one of the. There's like a gloss over the top of it. I think that's what I was missing. So it should be. It's really hard to work with this. Desolder or check up dry joints, but yeah, apparently they've got a coating on it, and then I think that's what the
Haltech was missing. Yeah.
Hey?
Yeah, the Haltech was missing.
And so there's nothing to seal
Auto
or protect the circuit board or the
auto shutdown cancelled.
Yeah, I think you can kind of see it more on the boards if it focuses. No, it's not gonna focus. No. Anyway, you just have to trust me on that.
Yeah, so Connor said it's because they use low lead solder, it gets the oxidization, and it's a conformal coating. So yeah, that's the issue that that these guys who have been having a look into it are seeing, and that's potentially what's been causing some issues. So I'm pretty interested to get mine to have a look at as well. So Jake Jones also did a video that only came up today of the price up of running all the IO boxes and stuff that he was running in his S13, and then comparing it to a Motec that everybody thinks is completely out of their reach. But when it comes to having to do all that expansion stuff, you realize that doing the more expensive motorsport one really in the long run is probably your better option anyway. So yeah, they don't have your plug and play options, but I think most people here, once they're getting to that point of building a car and going, further than a stock ECU or some sort of piggyback system or all that, are wanting more sensors, wanting all that sort of stuff. So really, you're looking at a wiring ECU anyway. So that's why EG keeps it stock and just a boost T.
Boost T? Nah, not even.
Just put a screw in it.
Nah, not even.
Just keep it standard.
Stock. Well, actually, no. I changed the actuator. So on my 25, I put an RB20 actuator in. So it changes from 7 pounds to 10 pounds. That's about it. But I do have boost controllers. I think they don't work. That's why I don't use them.
What's that? The T's?
No, the controllers. So I used the T
The
before.
controllers work.
The T? No, my particular controllers, because I bought them secondhand.
Ah,
Yeah. So I don't, not confident that they work properly because I plugged it in and didn't feel any different. So I just didn't really play with them very much after that, just because I don't want to. Because I had an issue at Eastern Creek actually, where I plugged in the controller for that event. I thought I set it to, I think 1 bar over the normal 10 psi, and then the turbo blew up. So
did you put oil in
yeah,
it?
yeah, there's oil in it.
Okay. It wasn't on the
Fresh.
floor underneath the car?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't even on the neighbor's driveway.
But
Yeah,
that's always a
I have
bonus.
to clean that up.
And,
Yeah.
and in Canberra, I'd be avoiding that because it seems like there's a crap load of bikies down there. So maybe don't spill oil on in.
I think the police are probably watching him fairly closely, so
So go,
he'd probably clean it up. Cause,
just go and spill as much oil there as you like then. So how close are you to having a running car going? While we're on the topic of what each other's doing.
So I'm hoping that I'll change this something or get another sump somewhere, put that into the 180. I did have a few issues with the steering, so I'm not too sure. I thought the tire was flat, but then it wasn't, and then the car kept cutting out. Oh yeah, actually that reminded me. I was meant to get a battery today, but I forgot.
I need one of them for the 350 as well.
Yeah. So, because I normally get the batteries from Costco because they're cheap.
Anybody else need a battery? EJ's doing a group buy at Costco tomorrow.
The group buy, no, but they do. When batteries go on special at Costco, they're cheap. Because I buy the smallest one there. It's about $76, I think, normally, and then when they go on special, they're about $58 for a car battery. So it's pretty cheap.
Yeah, I'll just
anyway.
find whatever's factory and fits in mine.
I just get the small ones because it's more convenient with all the stupid intercooler piping running in the engine bay.
Put it in the boot or the back seat.
No, back seat sucks. So Rob has his in his back seat.
Yeah, it's impossible to jump start.
Auto shutdown
Yeah.
initiated.
And especially if you
Auto shutdown
have more
cancelled.
stuff, it just takes up space. It's awkward. It's hard to get to, and it's awkward, and it's just annoying and awkward. I just don't like it.
But you could also put it in there and then run like jumper terminals to somewhere else in the car to make it easy.
Yeah. I think that's what I'll do. Is I have a mate that put a I think he said it was a neoprene block in the engine bay. So if you need to jump it or needed battery power, then he can use that block.
Yeah.
So then all that was happening was there was a cable running from that block to the battery wherever he relocated it, and there was an isolator somewhere.
My Commodore has the same thing, like the batteries in the back of the wagon.
Yep.
And because if you're fully loaded, it's you don't want to have to unload everything to have to try and get to the battery. There's terminals in the engine bay that you jump off. So.
Yep. But in the C80 that we put together, I just put the battery in the boot. But I used a sealed S battery, so it's sort of sitting flat and pushed to the side near a strut tower. So yeah.
Less chance of shit flying around too, being in the engine bay if it's held down in there. Most people, if it ends up in the boot and then they hit something hard, it tends to go flying and.
Yeah. In the engine bay, I think there's more of a chance of like crashing into something and squashing that battery into it somehow.
Yeah, that's fair too.
So, otherwise, the 32 still needs a water pump, but I have actually picked up an engine with a water pump on it, so I'm going to swap it over. And yeah, so the 180, if everything goes alright with this new sump, sort out the steering issue, then
Do you
yeah,
mean
that'd be a lot nicer.
like the guy who holds the steering wheel, or is there another steering issue?
Oh, that's yeah, we'll have to change that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe some time with Jai at the Bash 4 will help you out.
No, it'd just be a waste of time.
You're a lost cause already?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
that's fair.
Too old, too slow.
I think you'd take you for a lap, though. I think you'd be okay with that.
Has been. But yeah, I might actually change the knuckles because I put some really bodgy ones in.
Is there any other way for you? You put a motor in with a sump that wasn't sealed, like, and you put dodgy knuckles in. Surprise, surprise. And you assumed that the knuckles were probably okay too.
Yeah, I didn't realize there were different model of car knuckle from left to right, but I made it work.
Honestly, I don't even want to know. I think at that stage we just move on from that.
I think. Wait, I don't even know. Is it all maybe C34 Laurel? There's one side, and then there's a S14 on the other.
There's a set of stock S14 knuckles here if you need them, mate. So.
I do need them.
I know.
I really need to get.
I know. I've carried them a few places, and we just keep forgetting to exchange. So.
Yeah. So I might chuck some other knuckles in.
Are you trying to be ready for Revolution?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to go to all the Revolution days. So the feature is a lot. Oh, that's a known fix, and I really need to test drive that as well before I take it to another track day.
Yeah, and you need a car working at Revo, and I need a car working at Revo because I need to use the headset more because that shit's fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's cool.
But now that all the other people with them are dipping out, moving away, getting sensible with life.
Oh, yeah. Jake.
Yeah, so.
Bloody Jake.
Where's the guest? The guest buddy dipped on us, and that guest should be on next week.
Auto shutdown initiated.
Didn't we say that last week?
Last week we didn't do a show because I was
cancelled.
sick and we didn't have a guest. But then we have guests penciled in, so we're actually starting to get like a calendar going.
Yeah.
We've just been using excuses saying we're both too busy to get organised. But yeah, we almost have a month. Well, I think we have a month worth of guests. Hopefully, we'll almost end up with a couple of months worth of guests. So. One of our guests is commenting, so yeah, excited for guests to come on. We're just trying to get people organised. It's still such a crappy time of year to try and knuckle people down, and then we hate having people on standby because it's sort of almost, well, no, it is rude to be like, hey, we really want to have you as a guest, but can you go on standby in case this person flakes out on us? So,
I'll do that to someone like Steve, the Pembry.
Yeah, it's fine if they're like close mates and stuff like that, but it just feels a bit shitty for people we're not super close to. So, yeah. Any other plans for the year, or you're just gonna stick to Revo, really?
Revo, a few other things in the works. Really need to get my car situation sorted. Japan as well. It's looking like a short trip to Japan this year. Are you coming?
No.
Why not? You always say.
No. I always say no. I always say next year or no, and then I don't know. Could I drive your car if I came to Japan?
Nah.
No, then I'm not coming to Japan.
Oh wait, but I don't know if I've still promised my black car to Adam or not.
You have another car? I thought you already gave him the black car.
No, I gave him the black car last trip.
Yeah.
Or last trip.
Oh, just for that trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Nah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Not that keen on spending that much money. I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to, but then I would.
Black car's pretty shit at the moment, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. It just if I could guarantee that when I go there that I know that Power Vehicles is going to buy back the car at X amount. Yes, I understand if I've done damage or whatever, and that's just like I'm going to go use that car, X number of wheels that I need, and then sell it all back at the end and then leave. I could probably do it. If it's any more than that, then I don't know.
It's something like 55% or something.
You gotta send me dates, mate, because it's in the middle of like competition season for skating and stuff too. So
We're only going on a short trip. I think it's like 16 days.
we're going on a short trip. It's only 16 days.
Yeah, as opposed to 28 last time, I think it was.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Jake said I can drive his car. Wasn't his car fucked at the end of your last trip?
It's fucked for the whole trip.
Yeah. Mate, I can drive I can drive a car like yours staying at home.
He fixed it though, kind of.
Yeah. I have a car that's like that sitting here that I can think that I can go and drive, but I just need to do work on it. So, yeah. I don't know. I probably need to do I drove it for 1.5 days, and the 0.5 days was like driving it back up the hill at the end of the last day.
No, I did a practice session for G1, and then that's when he jumped into my car. So, and I got my car running that morning. And I took it to the skid pan, then I went to G1, watched Jake spin a bearing in his car, and then he started driving my car.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. I doubt it, but we'll see. Send me dates. That'll work.
I'll try and get that sorted because I think Andrew's planning to come with us as well, Robbo. If he sells his car.
I might be able to sponsor me if he sells his car. He'll be balling, mate.
Mate, you got to get back on those vlogs so you can get sponsored.
Yeah, definitely. Pick up all that sponsorship from my 16 views. Do you know how much money YouTube pays you for 16 views? A whole bunch of fucking nothing. Jake's already bought Kawabata's 180. I didn't think you had like what did we work out Kawabata's car?
Auto shutdown initiated.
You worked it out, didn't you?
Yeah,
Auto
it was
shutdown
like
cancelled.
about $58,000 or something Aussie.
Yeah.
And if you were to fly it back to not fly it. If you get to get it shipped back out to Australia, probably by the time it's landed after taxes and all that, you'd be pushing up near 70, I would presume.
70.
Yeah, because it's an expensive car, so you'd end up having to pay some form of stamp duty on it and stuff, unless they were happy to totally bullshit the value on the other end. But then if it falls out of a shipping container, you're if you haven't declared the value of it properly and you try and get any money from it, then you're in trouble. So it's like, what's the lesser of two evils? Even at the what was it, 57 million yen or whatever it's worth in Japan, is that cheap? Like
in Japan?
No, like in Japan. So like in Australia, I don't think that car's all that cheap. Like I think you could build that car for less here or around the same value here, and it not be a car, an older, like a chassis that's seen heaps of wear and tear.
I have no idea. I don't think it's cheap. I think it's average is my guess.
Yeah, I just don't know what getting that sort of cage welded and all that sort of stuff done in Japan is like, and if it's hard to get that sort of work done. Because like I know they're mostly small workshops and stuff over there, so I would imagine it might be a good buy for somebody over there wanting to do FD Japan or.
No, I don't think.
Or something like that. Because just that to me.
You can find you might be able to find a cheaper deal. Yeah. Like it won't be the same sort of spec, but I think you'll get a cheaper car for better value for money.
Yeah.
Rather than like a good car that costs a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, cool car. Got good nostalgic value, but I'm just not sure it's worth the 57, 58k Aussie for that car, plus whatever it would cost you to get it home or wherever you want it in the world. I'm just not sure there's a market yet for nostalgic drift cars. You know, there might be
First
some.
cars.
Oh,
Man, I've seen.
There might be some rich Arabs and stuff in the Middle East who
That's
think
what I was
like,
gonna say because
yeah,
there's
fuck.
a 21 that went for sale that I went for a ride in, and that was like $120,000 Australian.
Jesus.
It's
crazy because it's not what the cars are worth to build.
And that was sold to some Arab guys, so yeah, that was really cool. But you know, they got lots of money, so it's all relative.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have billions of dollars and you're like, oh, what, 60 grand? Oh, here you go, whatever, keep the change.
Yeah. So, yeah, Japan, maybe. Send me dates. We'll see what happens. Depends how it
You can just come and then just
coincides
like
with work.
yourself. Huh?
Said how depends how it coincides with work.
Just get work in Japan.
No, but if like students have competitions during that time, I can't really dip.
Do you reckon you'd actually make a difference to their lives?
Cut me deep there, mate.
Okay. Do they have a comp then? Is there a comp?
What month are you going? You're in the middle of the year again.
August.
Yeah, that's like competition season.
Because it's winter here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. How many days do you do at the shoe?
8 days normally.
Yeah, see, I just go for those 8 days. I don't want to do anything else Japan related. I'm not that like been there, done that.
You need to. You don't need to recommend like a day or two of rest afterwards before you head back.
That's what the aeroplane's for, mate. Just. Oh, you just mean for the grease to wear off a little bit, so you don't look like you're painted black when you come back through customs.
That's just Nick.
wouldn't be a surprise. I feel like that's the one thing you got to take with you is like proper like mechanics cleaning crap.
No, they've got it over there.
Oh, do they?
Figured it out after the second trip, but not the first one.
That's not really a surprise. Send me deets. I don't know. I don't want to go over there and upset everybody when I show up first time and win G1 first time out. So.
Oh, good luck.
Auto shutdown
You
initiated.
really think you can take on Joel?
I don't even know what a Joel is, but
Joel from
Auto
D1NZ,
shutdown cancelled.
8.6.
I don't even know what a Joel is, but I feel like I'd just go out there and rape him.
Nah.
Nah, I don't know what a Joel is, but I got him. Got this shit on lockdown. Did you see my win at Super Drift? I know how to win a competition.
No, the other guy lost, that's all. You didn't win.
I just intimidate people into spinning.
No, I think he felt bad for you, that's why he spun.
Never had his car. So, yeah. If anybody has questions or anything, just punch them up in the comments. I've already gone through what's wrong with the 350 and what I got back from Queensland. The stolen car, basically stuff's been released from the stuff that was covered's now been released, so I can pick that up. So I'm gonna have a bunch of parts for coming up for sale. So probably up in Queensland to start with, so I don't have to get them back to Sydney. And the 350, hopefully we're at the bottom of it. So want more detail? Go back and watch the episode and give us a thumbs up on
like and subscribe.
Like
and remember to comment
and hit the bell.
Tag your mates.
And hit the bell.
Hashtag something. I don't know. Whatever.
We need to get way more motivated with this stuff, mate.
We're not doing too bad. I was surprised at how many likes we have and how many people message us when the show isn't on or it isn't uploaded to YouTube.
Yeah, that is fair. I think people just think we're dead when we're not, when we don't go up. and basically I was dead last week, so that's sort of why last week wasn't up. So, uh, yeah. Anything else you want to cover? I'm happy to keep this one short tonight, and then we've got, hopefully our guests don't flake on us now. We're like, we're getting, we're getting covered, um, and yeah,
Yeah, so we've got four guests lined up,
and we've got ideas for
uh,
some more.
and three guests that are interested. So on top of that, actually, I was talking to Peter a bit earlier today, and he asked
Pete, as in initial D,
Peter,
Pete? Oh, okay.
yeah,
Drift Cadet Peter.
yeah, Drift Cadet Peter. So hopefully we can get him on. But he asked sort of just two questions. So because I didn't answer the second one yet, but the first one, which you might be able to answer, what's your favourite comp in Australia? And I sort of asked, is that current or of all time? He said both. So
Um, I guess as a spectator and new into drifting, Drift Australia was to me the best comp that um, just from overall vibe and all that sort of stuff that I think Australia's seen. I think most people will agree with that from a series point of view. I think it's that was the really was the peak in professional drifting
yep,
in Australia. Um, and World Time Attack's always done a good job of putting on as big a show as they can possibly can, in all sorts of different formats and stuff like that they've done over the years. But again, that's a dumbed down version of drifting, or
yeah,
a semi dumbed down version of drifting um,
but yeah, he
for
does
general
say
public.
comp. So yeah,
And then from a driver's point of view, DCA, other than the shitty judging from the head judge, um,
I get that. Yeah,
uh, has for me is the best from a driving point of view. Um, it's a shame that they've lost some of the bigger tracks and some of the stuff that they were trying to do or have done previously has sort of gone away. But yeah, from a pushing yourself point of view, but I think that sort of comes down to the culture of the guys that are driving in the series. There was a lot of South Australian guys who are super aggressive, and the fact that a lot of it started on the old Tailem Bend skid pan means that it was all about big push, push, push.
Auto shutdown initiated.
So
Auto shutdown
yeah, I think
cancelled.
that's the best that I've experienced. Um, but in saying that, there's lots of traditional format drifting around Australia. Um, if I had a free weekend, would I go up and do rally? Yeah, I would. If Super Drift was back on, would I look at doing it? Yeah, I would. Um, if I could get down to, from what I've seen from that first round down of the new SA series, definitely headed in the right direction from a driver's
yeah.
sense. So
So from a driver's sense, I'd go drifting SA at the moment.
yeah, just yeah, all round driving wise, that to me is sort of hitting the nail on the head when it comes to pushing for better driving and just giving people more time to drive. Your Vic Drift, look, it's good, it gets good numbers and all that, but it's still super traditional format, and once you're out, you're sort of out. So, um, yeah, that for me, DCA for me, and if I was to be driving, trying to do more comps this year and could make it work, yeah, I'd be heading down to SA and leaving a car in SA and traveling back and forth if I was super serious about becoming a really good driver if I wasn't already a Bo Yates or somebody like that. So, yeah, that's where I'd be looking. So, I think if that's sort of what he means, then Because
So,
to me, competition just means there's so many aspects to competition.
that's
Um,
right. Yeah.
like I loved high tech when it was on the figure eight, not because
Really?
yeah, um, not because of the track, but the vibe. Like the event was super like everything was close. The crowds were pretty good. The crowds had access to, would walk up and down, have a look at cars all the time, all that sort of stuff. Um, and then going and watching high tech at Wakefield, like all that is gone. Um, you know, not much of a crowd, hard to get to the cars without being yelled at because you're in shorts or whatever. Um, all that sort of stuff. So um, I don't know. From a spectator point of view, I want to be able to get close to the cars, not necessarily when they're on track, but like a good view of the cars when they're on track. I want to be able to get close to drivers, see cars, all that sort of stuff. And when there's track time, it's constant. And when I'm driving in an event, I want to just be able to be out there and be encouraged to push hard and um, when it's practice sessions and all that, that it's intense and it's all about um, pushing and improving. So um, yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with it. You've kind of got to say DCA, I guess, because
Well, DCA doesn't have anything at the moment.
yeah,
So I just sort of left that as not running, because that'll, the only sort of things that are running at the moment are high tech, big drift, DSA, rally to think that I could think of. I'm sure there's probably ones in WA I just don't know about
yeah,
it.
D1WA is doing some good things.
Yeah,
So
but I just don't have any experience besides what I've seen.
yeah,
Um, and
and
I
honestly,
think
I think
Tita would have stuff as well.
yeah, Tita does as well. I
Yeah,
think
so
honestly,
yeah,
the best form of competition is the one that's close to you, accessible to you, affordable to you, and you can do as many of the rounds as possible.
yeah,
Like that to me is what's ideal. Like if I lived if I lived outside of Sydney, like Newcastle or further north, I would do every single round of rally. Um, if I was Canberra or below, I'd do every round of Vic Drift. Um, if I was within 4 hours of um, the Bend and Malalar, I'd do every round of that. That to me is sort of where you wanna sort of you wanna be.
yeah,
Um, burning yourself out, going too crazy on national, unless there's something at the end of it, or it's whatever. It just gets hard and expensive.
Auto
So
shutdown initiated. Auto shutdown cancelled.
yeah. I liked so currently running. I said DSA because
yeah,
it seemed as a driver it seemed like the most for me the most sort of value as in the driving time, um, the facility, like everything, what the way they're running things, how they facilitate, how they
facilitate.
facilitate.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That does remind me a bit of DCA, but
yeah,
that's what's not running. And then as a spectator, because I didn't include World Time Attack because it's sort of up in the air.
yeah. Oh yeah,
But
for this year it doesn't.
yeah,
Yeah, we don't know what's happening, but just that's. But if he's talking style of event, like yeah,
yeah.
it's a
So
style of event.
that would be more like of all time, and I could understand like it was a big toss up between, as a spectator, between Drift Australia and World Time Attack, because World Time Attack it was huge. I've never, oh no, I have been to around at high tech, um, but I didn't really like watching it at the Peanut. So
Yeah, I
um,
don't know. I never minded it that much from on the figure eight. Yeah, like I'd much rather watch it at Eastern Creek or Oran Park, but I never really had a huge problem with it. being on figure eight. Um, I just the small tight atmospheres for me is always pretty good. Like Archie's cool when it's like that too, with a decent crowd in a small space. So um, there's just something creates a vibe where rather than everybody being spread out. So
Yeah,
it's like watching a football game at ANZ Stadium and there's 5,000 people. Well, it could be 10,000 people, but it's a
yeah,
80,000 seat stadium. So it's only 1/8 full. Where you then go and do it in a 5,000 seat stadium, so it's only half the crowd and it's full and it's just got this better vibe. So
yeah.
um,
That's what World Time Attack a few years ago was like
yeah,
for me.
yeah,
Yeah, it was massive. And then even Drift Australia was at Oran Park. Was Yeah, it was crazy that last event. The amount of people that were there.
yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that can definitely change the vibe of an event, even from a driver point of view. I think a decent crowd can definitely change the vibe of the event for you. So
yeah, and then really enjoyed Mount Gambier, DCA Mount Gambier. That's a really cool event, I think.
yeah,
Just the locations and the vibe and everything is it's really fun as a driver. Not I don't know what it would be like as a spectator because I've always been sort of in a prime spot.
yeah,
So, but otherwise, really cool area. The course is cool, and then the driving is enjoyable as well.
yeah. What was his other question?
Second question is, who do you think are current Australia top drivers? So it could be multiple.
Current Australia top drivers, um, and just means drivers in general, right? Doesn't
Yeah.
have to be competition drivers. Um, Yates is definitely still up there.
Yep.
Uh, Fink is
Yep.
probably the pinnacle. The dude can steer a
Yeah.
BT50 around his
I still have him as
track.
the top one. I think
Yeah, I just as a versatile driver, he's unmatched really. The
is
guy,
really good.
yeah,
Annoying.
the guy's a freak. Um, a lot of the guys in SA, um, your Aussies, your Stewies, your Simon Micklemore's, all those guys are a top a top-notch drivers. Um, they're good. They just are. And you just see their natural style come out when they're on those no stress sessions at anything that's been popping up from SA. Um, Prosnick's another amazing driver. Uh, Matt Harvey, another great driver.
Yeah, I like Matt.
Auto
He's
shutdown
cool.
initiated.
Uh,
Auto
Dale,
shutdown
Dale
cancelled.
Campaign just pisses me off because he's annoyingly
He's consistent.
consistent.
Yeah.
I'd like some more flair from him, but uh, I don't think, other than probably Luke, uh, I've seen many guys who can just do the same run over and over again, the same way every single time on new tracks wherever he goes. To me, Yates is super consistent like that.
Yeah.
Um,
But he
but
has a bit more flair.
yeah, he's also got a car that's probably a little bit more capable too of that flair,
Yeah, I
sequential,
don't know.
big lock,
Because
all
I
this
think
sort of
he could
stuff.
be lazy on that car. And I think he tries
Uh,
not to be.
nah, if you, I think with some of those cars, if you don't drive them hard, then they bite back pretty bad. So
I don't
um,
know. Like
everything
he look,
happens fast, I'm pretty sure.
it looks cool, and he's not sort of being lazy.
Uh, and then so to me, I put Matt Harvey and Dale Campaign in that same sort of region as each other. Matt's got more flair, but Matt makes more mistakes. Dale's super consistent with a little less flair.
Yeah,
So um, yeah, there's still there's heaps of Aussie guys who are really are good. Um, but I don't think, yeah, it comes down to what you like. what you like from people. And then to me, uh, the the best guys are just the guys who are anybody who's in any sport to me who's willing to take risk and push beyond their own personal limits. You can generally tell in a sport and even in a motorsport where you can't see the actual person moving, but you can tell by the behavior of the car and stuff like that if the person's pushing their limits or not. That to me is cool. Anybody who sort of stays in their safe little box, I'm not a huge fan of. So yeah,
Yeah, it was cool as well. It's Chopper in Tasmania.
yeah, he's always a bit wild. So
Yeah, oh, you weren't there, were you?
no,
No, you didn't. You didn't make it
I
down. Yeah,
no, I
he
didn't
was.
do that last one.
Yeah, it's just
I
his
saw
car.
I think I saw some of the videos, but Mount Gambier the year before, he was somebody I took note of my first year at Mount Gambier because he tore the back out of that 33 and he had it all um, tubed and all sorts of stuff. So um, and to somebody else I was about to say, and then I totally slipped my mind. Oh, like Blake and when he's on point, is just one of those freakish drivers who I don't know, just pulls it out of nowhere and does some cool stuff. So Blake Patterson's still up there for me. I just wish he'd drive more. Then he'd definitely be yeah definitely be way up there. So
Um, Pressed by Scott Miller when he first started as well. Like when I not first started,
yeah
when I first saw him.
yeah it's like drifting is such a it's hard to judge people because you sort of like I put Luke right up there as just a freakishly good driver in anything. After watching Yates drive um, Glenn Ormerod's NA 13B KE70 and one round of high tech on the figure eight a few years ago. Um, he drove that really well, and everybody's like, "Oh, let's see what if he could go back to a car like he started, and if he would be any good." And he killed it in that car. Still drove really well, and I don't know if he had driven anything like it for a little while. Maybe he'd been doing some street lamp inspections in one of his or his wife's, street AE86s, but I don't think he had been doing all that much of that sort of stuff in the recent years. So to see him jump into that showed his versatility. I know he'd gone over to D1NZ and then struggled a little bit, and that's why I questioned on a track that he knows he seems really good. I
Yeah,
think he's really good in any car. Um, and then yeah, I think new tracks tend to take him a little while to get used to. So, well, that's what I felt like I saw. But again, he hasn't done a huge amount of that sort of stuff and gone places that he doesn't know. So, um,
Auto
yeah,
shutdown
he's good.
initiated.
And then yeah,
Auto
guys like
shutdown cancelled.
Scott Miller when he shows up in a low horsepowered car and just does really well. Um, but yeah, yeah, there's just heaps of good guys, and South Australia I think is sort of the pinnacle for good drivers in any grade of drift car, I guess I would say. Whether you're talking your 200 kilowatt cars or your 600 kilowatt cars, I think they're sort of your benchmark
I think it's
with the widest spread.
I think it's because of the community that they made there. The kind of those sort of guys that push whatever you have, like, and instead of like making an excuse and
Yeah,
saying, "Oh, it's because of this," they just go, "Nah, this is what I have, so I'm gonna push it to the limit of the car."
yeah, and they've got high speed and low speed, so
Yeah,
go to JDMX Park for some medium to slow speed stuff, and then Madalar for your high speed stuff, and now the Bend with all sorts of stuff in between. And they've always sort of had that variety. New South Wales we got a little bit stuck with slowing right down because we lost access to a lot of the big tracks, and all used to second gear, well mostly second gear tight technical stuff. So um, yeah, but yeah, I don't know. around the world, there's just heaps of good driver, and I think Luke's one who always says it that there's heaps of hidden talent everywhere. Some people just don't like doing comps, and somebody like a Jai is that sort of person too. Heaps of flair, happy to miss a corner because he's trying to chuck it in backwards, doing silly stuff. But you know, it's that's that's what I mean by people pushing their limits, and that to me is exciting. It doesn't matter who that person is. It's being willing to make mistakes to push yourself rather than just keeping it stale and boring. Being like, oh, I don't want to spin out because people will like think I'm shit. And it's like, yeah, you spun out because you were trying to do something cool, not you spun out because you were just shit. So, Craig, you lame PM me for price back. Yeah, well, bud, thanks, mate.
Ah,
Good questions. They're just so like I don't know. I love drifting, and you can't if you actually genuinely love the sport and love it for what it is. I don't think you can put exact names or just say one overall person um, with some of it because there's just different styles, different cars, different whatever. Somebody might be amazing in their chosen chassis, but they get in something else and they don't know what to do behind the wheel. So yeah.
yeah, and different situations as well.
Yeah, and I also think, and just driver attitude comes down to that sort of thing too. Like somebody could be an amazing driver but doesn't want to encourage anybody or get on door with anybody other than their close group or anything like that. And to me, I don't put them up there as a top driver or whatever because they're not part of the community. They sort of stick to their own really. Where to me, half the fun of drifting is getting to hang out with different people and enjoy driving for driving and getting to know other people through coming into the pits and then being like, oh, who did I drive with? Okay, let's go in. Oh, it was a blue 180. Let's go find the blue 180. Oh, hey, that was sick tandems. Like, I don't know who the hell you are, and like this is our first time meeting, but that was sick.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any better way of meeting somebody at a drift event than having those sort of runs with people.
yeah.
So that to me is sort of what you want. Um, yeah, let's start looking at wrapping this up. Um, any upcoming guys worth mentioning? I'm copying shit from Danielle right now. I get a message saying it's 7:55. I hate cars because I was saying that before I came on the show. And then now at 9:55, I'm saying I love drifting. Hey, I'm allowed to hate cars and love drifting. All right.
Auto shutdown initiated.
Um,
Auto shutdown
Paul
cancelled.
Alexander asked about upcoming drivers. Not really that I'm super aware of. Oh, Daniel Messmer, but I think we tooted his horn a little bit on a few episodes. To me, is a bit of an up and comer, but I haven't done enough driving in the last 12 months to see anybody local. Um, yeah, and know who's really pushing and stuff like that. Um, Seems like there's a lot of dudes at the moment that I've seen on social media stuff that are guys who have been around for a while or taken a hiatus and come back or got the shits and then come back
Yeah,
um, or whatever, which is good. I'm actually really glad to see that. That'll build the community up big again by having those guys sort of step back into driving. But as for new talent in the last 6 months or so that people that have struck me, no, not really. I'm excited to see if Glenn Ormerod finishes his 8.6 um and yeah gets it going for high tech. I'm looking forward to seeing him in something bigger than his um bigger than the what's it called the KE70. So That'll definitely be a tester for him and going out on big tires and doing all that if he goes into pro with that car. So
Hmm.
he's maybe somebody we should look at getting on. He's generally pretty quiet, but once he's probably got a couple of rounds of high tech under his belt, if that's his plan, because I know he didn't do much drifting in the last 12 months. The last time I saw him drive, he was in a street AE86, really nice one at the North Circuit event, but was only driving wet pans. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so he's been around a little bit, but um, yeah.
Yeah, I can't really think of any because the
And a lot of the guys that we think are up and comers have been around for a while, like
yeah,
your Grant Davises and stuff like that, who are sort of people who hadn't really heard of
it's been
until
around
last year. Yeah, have been around for a long time, or
yeah.
they're taken. That's what I mean. Like they're sort of just dudes hanging out in the background that just people don't know that are there, and you sort of got to go to the tracks that they're used to driving or whatever to meet them because they haven't ventured out just yet. So there's heaps of those sort of dudes around, and that's what I mean by just yeah, lining up with somebody and going for a few tandem runs, and as soon as you trust them, being like, who the hell is this person? Getting to know who they are. So, um,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I think last year was only Mesner.
yeah, he, yeah, definitely impressed. So, and we should remember to actually try and add him to that calendar because we remember we eventually got him to agree to actually coming on. So,
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, I'll get onto that. We've got a few, but we'll fill in a little bit more and then see how things are going in a couple of weeks.
yeah, yeah. So, I think we'll start to wrap it up now. So next week we're supposed to have Matty Hill on. Warwick, if you're still listening or whatever, make sure your brother's got his shit together. I know you live next door or live in the same house. I can't remember which one you're doing now. Um, Matty's supposed to come on, talk about D1NZ and then plans for Japan and all that sort of stuff. So, been trying to get him on for a couple of weeks. Keeps flaking on us. Uh, and then, yeah, we've got a few other guests, so we'll sort of roll through them as we get closer. Um, the earlier weekend,
Good variety.
yeah, and the
Listen,
hopefully once now that we're starting to lock these guys in earlier, our graphic design team can do their little graphic design team things that they do, and we'll be a little bit more on the Instagram account and Facebook and all that. So, uh, yeah, we'll see, uh, and yeah. So hopefully this will
cool.
be the last one without a guest for a little while. But
Yeah.
if there's anybody who wants to come on and he's happy to just be like a last minute guest type person, just message us and say I'm free on Wednesday nights generally and happy to come on and talk shit. Just let us know because sometimes we need that at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday night. But hopefully we won't. Hopefully we won't need you for a couple of weeks in case a guest flakes. But yeah. Anything else?
No, I think that's it
Auto
for
shutdown
this week.
initiated.
Yeah. So if you want to
Auto shutdown
hopefully
cancelled.
bang doors with either of us. Hopefully we will be both on track for a Revo in March. March? Yeah,
Yeah,
March.
March.
Late March. That's the plan for both of us at this stage. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully we get our act together and that's when we'll both be on track. So come find the two fat dudes driving cars that probably don't work properly.
Yeah, should be. I think I'll try and take my 32 out again to Wakefield, maybe.
Only bring it if you've changed the water pump. If you haven't, just
Oh
leave it
yeah,
alone.
I said I'm going to do that last week, but I didn't do it. So
Alright, well, we'll catch you guys next week, hopefully with Matty Hill, and then the following week, I think we're supposed to have somebody from SA.
yep,
So, yeah, we'll catch up from some of the news from the SA guys. Um, yeah, as I said at the top of the show, entries for or expressions of interest for Bring the Bash 4 are open, and they've got Daigo Saito coming out. So, and even if you don't get accepted to drive, probably an event worth a watch. So, see Daigo.
Passenger rides.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
See Daigo fuck up some shit in Australia. So that's not his. So
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it when you own it.
that's it. That's why it was nice to the Lamborghini. All right, we will catch you guys next week.
All right, see you guys.